The story of the Royal Canadian Air Force begins on England's Salisbury Plain, winds its way across the Canadian hinterland, struggles through a maze of politics and bureaucracy, and ultimately triumphs in the dark and stormy skies of a world war. During the last century, Canada's Air Corps has come and gone, grown and shrunk, administered civil aviation and defended security, freedom, and democracy. It has delivered mail, mapped the Canadian North, licensed and regulated pilots, monitored aircraft development, and patrolled offshore waters. It has rescued the lost and the threatened, fought wars, enforced peace, and delivered life-saving relief to desperate populations in the far reaches of the planet. Now, 100 years on, elements of the RCAF are turning their continuously searching eyes to space, where satellite security and reliability have become critical concerns in the ever-expanding digital age. The RCAF that we know today is the fourth iteration of an Air Force in Canada. The first of them was created at the outset of the First World War. As the rumblings of impending conflict in Europe grew louder, the defense budget soared. The RCAF allotment in 1936 was $4.6 million. A year later, it skyrocketed to nearly $30 million. That's a whopping 1,614% over its annual budget of the early 1930s. In February 1939, the RCAF acquired 19 first-generation Hawker Hurricane fighters. By the time Germany invaded Poland on September 1, 1939, Canada's emerging Air Force had grown to some 20 squadrons and more than 4,000 personnel. In the spring of 1940, No. 1 Squadron, RCAF, headed to England to help defend the home islands against Nazi invasion. More than 100 Canadian pilots were killed during the Battle of Britain. The RCAF and Canadians flying with the RAF had become an indelible part of Churchill's feud. They had forged Canada's place in military aviation. No. 1 Squadron was renamed 401 and finished the war with 186.5 aerial victories, far and away the most of any RCAF unit. A new era of air warfare had begun, and Canadian airmen and ground crew played no small part in it. Between 1939 and 1945, the RCAF enlisted 232,000 men and 17,000 women. It mounted 86 squadrons and dispatched 47 of them overseas. RCAF personnel crewed bomber, fighter, reconnaissance, transport, and other missions around the world. Tens of thousands of Canadian air crew also served with the RAF, and more than 17,000 Canadian airmen were killed in action, more than 10,600 of them with Bomber Command. By 1944, Canada's Military Aviation Corps had grown into the world's fourth largest air force. While the years ahead would present new challenges, the RCAF would languish no more. Canadian pilots would fight with American squadrons, and transport pilots would conduct long-haul supply flights throughout the Korean War. There would be more wars to come, along with domestic and international relief missions and search and rescue operations. And now, the great frontier. In July 2022, the RCAF announced the formation of 3 Canadian Space Division to secure Canada's growing dependence on satellite technology. Apropos, considering the original Air Force motto, per ardua et astra, through adversity to the stars.